Karen got me fired after bullying a mom, then we exposed her dark secrets. A Karen got me suspended from my job after I stood up for a mom who clearly needed some support. This lady went from acting like a bully to throwing legal threats at me through her husband's law firm. But we didn't take it lying down. We turned the tables by exposing her sneaky recordings of every parent at the school gala, and let's just say, the fallout that followed was more public than anything she could have prepared for. But before I dive into all that, let me say this, I've noticed the channel's been slowing down a bit lately. If you're here and you like these stories, hitting that subscribe button is the easiest way to show support. It's fast, it's free, and it really helps keep this community growing strong. See, my job was basically her sanctuary. I worked over at Chelsea Piers in New York City, where our bread and butter came from throwing kids' birthday parties. And let me tell you, our client base? Pretty much 90% full-on Karens. Designer bags, Lululemon head to toe, never a single thank you, let alone a tip. So one afternoon, when I saw a group of about 15 kids stroll in, I was already bracing myself for the usual nonsense. One of the moms made her way over to me, and I figured she was about to complain about the price hikes on the menu, like that was somehow my fault. But instead, she smiled at me. Not in the fake way I was used to, but with genuine kindness. She asked to put the party on her card, even though it wasn't her kid's birthday, which definitely threw me off. Still, I went along with it. What struck me most was how none of the other moms, not even the birthday kid's actual mom, bothered to thank her. And yet, she just kept smiling, like it genuinely made her happy to help. She ended up leaving a 40% tip and even talked all the other moms into leaving us glowing reviews on Google Maps. And then, just like that, she vanished. I didn't see her again until 2 months later, same kind gesture, same warm smile. Only this time, she showed up early and helped set up the decorations, tying balloons and all. And this time, she tipped 50%. But that's when things got weird. The other moms started coming for her, not directly, of course, but in that quiet, underhanded, mom clique kind of way. I overheard snide comments like, must be nice having money to throw around, and if you really wanted to help, you could have booked the private room instead of sticking with regular seating. I wanted so badly to just grab her by the shoulders and tell her she deserved better. That she didn't owe these women a thing. But technically, that kind of thing breaks our employee code of conduct. So instead, I just shot daggers at every woman who dared to open her mouth. A month later, she came back again. Only this time, before I could even say hello, she marched right up to the counter and dropped this big black duffel bag in front of me. Inside? A folder stuffed with every kid's allergies, food preferences, and even their preferred seats. I stared at her, wondering what kind of life she must lead to end up taking all this on herself. But this time, she didn't tip. In fact, she didn't even pay. The card declined. I saw her eyes start to gloss over, like she was trying to hold it all in, so I gently pulled her into the staff room. I didn't know what I expected, but she fell apart right there. She poured everything out, how people constantly expected her to lead the school fundraisers, donate the most money, be the always available emergency contact for half the class. Not because she was rich, but because she never said no. Turns out, she wasn't better off than the rest of them. She just didn't want the other moms to feel the same kind of pressure she did. And now that her husband had lost his job, she couldn't keep pretending anymore. My chest physically ached hearing her speak. She kept apologizing for crying, but I told her straight up, she had nothing to be sorry for. Then, almost like she was embarrassed, she pulled an envelope labeled mortgage from her purse and started counting out 20s. I stopped her right there and told her not to worry, I'd cover it this time. When we stepped back out into the main room, the other moms were huddled together, whispering. Lindsay, the ringleader, stood at the center like some kind of queen bee, all glammed up with a salon fresh blowout. She looked Monica up and down, smiled that fake smile, and said, we were just talking about how the party standards have really been slipping lately. Next month, it happened again. Her card declined, right there in front of everyone. Lindsay didn't miss a beat. She strutted forward, swiped her platinum card with a theatrical flair, and said, Monica, maybe focus on getting your finances in order before you take on things you clearly can't afford. It's embarrassing for all of us. Monica ducked into the bathroom. When she came out, her eyes were red and puffy. The moms didn't even blink. They just stared at her and told her to fix her makeup so she wouldn't bring the mood down. And when she actually reached into her purse to do it, something in me snapped. My manager was off duty that day, which meant, for once, I could speak freely. I walked over to their table and gently tapped a plastic cup until everyone went quiet. Lindsay, I said. Her head whipped around, stunned that I knew her name. I've seen you at these parties for a year now. You know how much you've probably spent? Maybe $20 total on gas. The whole place went still. I kept going. Meanwhile, Monica's dropped over $7 grand on your spoiled kids' birthdays. And guess what? Every time y'all walk out that door, the entire staff vents about how awful you are. Especially you. Then I pointed right at Lindsay. You look like a knockoff Barbie. Maybe if you put half as much effort into your kid as you do into your Botox and blowouts, your husband might still care. You could feel the air shift. The other moms squirmed in their seats. The kids had stopped playing, eyes wide, frozen mid-bite or mid-step. Lindsay grabbed her purse, snatched her child by the arm, and stormed out. I was riding high on adrenaline, on justice, on the satisfaction of finally saying what needed to be said. But I had no idea what Lindsay had planned next. I didn't realize just how far rich people will go to protect their secrets. It took 3 days for things to start falling apart. I was wiping down tables like usual when my manager burst through the front doors, red in the face and jaw tight enough to crack a tooth. Without saying a word, he slammed a piece of paper on the counter and barked, conference room. Now. My stomach sank as I followed him back. Inside were two folks from corporate, both dressed sharp, both wearing the kind of expressions that made it clear this wasn't going to be a casual chat. The woman slid a formal complaint across the table, and right there at the bottom was Lindsay's signature, as bold as it was smug. The man looked at me and said, "Mr. Callahan, it's been claimed that you threatened a child and used profanity during one of our birthday events. These are serious accusations." I opened my mouth to explain, but my manager didn't give me the chance. "You're suspended, pending investigation," he snapped. "Clock out. Don't come back until we contact you." The walk to my locker felt like it stretched for miles. Nobody would look me in the eye. I gathered my stuff in silence and slipped out through the back door like some criminal, hands shaking as I tried to get my keys in the ignition. The days that followed crawled by. No calls. No emails. I spent hours refreshing my inbox and flinching every time my phone buzzed, hoping it was an update. It never was. Then, out of nowhere, Monica showed up at my place. She looked completely drained, like all the fight had gone out of her. She sank into my couch, clutching a crumpled tissue like it was the only thing holding her together. "Lindsay's been telling people my husband got fired for embezzlement," she choked out. "The school just booted me from the fundraising committee." "That's insane," I said. "Can't you clear it up somehow? Prove it's not true." Monica just shook her head. "No one's going to believe me. Lindsay's got every mom wrapped around her little finger. No one's even talking to me at pickup." I made us both some tea and sat beside her as she laid it all out. Lindsay had been slowly poisoning her reputation, turning every little thing into something ugly. A declined card became proof of fraud. A missed donation turned into gossip about shady behavior. It was death by 1,000 paper cuts. 2 weeks into my suspension, things took an even weirder turn. I got a frantic text from Kendra, another server from Chelsea Piers. She begged me to meet up, so we met at this quiet coffee shop where she slid her phone across the table like it was a loaded weapon. "Lindsay left this at the counter yesterday," she whispered. "You need to see what's on it." The screen showed a voice recording app, filled with dozens of files. Each one had a mom's name and a date. I tapped one at random and instantly heard snippets of private conversations, talks about marriages, health scares, money troubles. Kendra leaned in. "She's been recording people for months. Every party. She hides her phone in the bathroom or by the gift table." I could barely breathe as I scrolled. It was like something out of a spy movie, blackmail material on every single mom in their little social circle. But when I got to the files labeled with Monica's name, something felt off. They weren't raw recordings, they were edited, chopped up to twist innocent comments into something that sounded conniving or suspicious. 3 weeks in, Monica called me again. She could barely get the words out between sobs. Lindsay had organized a concerned parents' meeting and presented what she claimed were screenshots of Monica begging people for money, even hinting she might dip into school fundraiser cash. "They're fake," Monica whispered through tears. I never sent any of those messages, but she had printouts. Real ones. And now everyone believes her. Just like that, families started distancing themselves. Monica's daughter got dropped from playdates. The carpool group stopped picking her up. People who used to smile at her in the hallways now looked right through her. Then came the real gut punch. A month later, her little girl came home crying. She'd been uninvited from 3 birthday parties that week. When she asked why, the kids told her their mom said Monica's family was going through stuff and it was better not to get involved. I couldn't just sit back anymore. I started reaching out to former coworkers, folks who'd left Chelsea Piers. If Lindsay did this to Monica, maybe she had a history. Sure enough, Marcus, who had quit 6 months earlier, had stories. Naomi and Trevor too. Everyone remembered Lindsay. And none of the memories were good. By week 6 of my suspension, I still hadn't heard a word from work. That's when Kendra came running to me again. She had overheard Lindsay talking in the bathroom on the phone with someone at her husband's law firm. She was threatening to file a discrimination lawsuit against Chelsea Piers unless they fired me for good. "She's using her husband's law firm," Kendra said. "They handled Chelsea Piers' contract. She's basically threatening to pull the plug on the entire business if you're not let go." I felt sick. That job was how I paid my rent, kept food in the fridge. And now I was going up against a law firm with power and money, things I definitely didn't have. Then, 2 months into this nightmare, Monica uncovered something that made everything worse. Her mail had been vanishing. Job interview invites, an envelope from her aunt with money for the mortgage, all gone. She installed a little security camera above her mailbox. What she caught on video made my blood run cold. There was Lindsay, out for her morning jog, casually pulling mail from Monica's box like it was nothing. Monica called the postal inspector, who confirmed that tampering with mail is a federal offense. But with her husband's firm involved, justice wasn't exactly on our side. By week 10, Lindsay launched her most twisted move yet. She manipulated the PDA into opening an audit on Monica's past fundraising efforts, even though every single penny was accounted for. But now Monica needed a lawyer just to prove she hadn't done anything wrong. "I can't afford this," she told me, sitting at her kitchen table, surrounded by shoeboxes of receipts. "The lawyer wants $5,000 just to get started. And we're already behind on the mortgage." 3 months had crawled by since that nightmare of a birthday party when Monica and I finally caught a break. Thanks to the old network of ex-employees from Chelsea Piers, we dug up some leads, and what we found hit like a gut punch. There were 3 other families, all from Lindsay's previous school, and each one had a story that sounded painfully familiar. Same pattern. Same target. Find someone kind-hearted and dependable, the type others leaned on, and then slowly, methodically, tear their life to pieces. "I know exactly what she does," a woman named Tara told us during a video call. "She did it to me 2 years ago. I lost my job, my circle of friends, almost lost my marriage, too. We had to move to a new district just to get away from her. The more people we talked to, the clearer the picture became. Lindsay had a formula. Identify someone good, someone who made life easier for others, and then crush them until they had nothing left. Every single family had the same story, and not one of them had stood their ground. They all just left. Fled. But Monica and I, we weren't going anywhere. Then, 14 weeks into this mess, Lindsay finally slipped up. Monica's cousin Sabrina, who worked as a personal trainer, had just started taking on clients at Lindsay's gym. One afternoon, mid-squat, Lindsay couldn't help herself. She started bragging. "You should see how I've got this pathetic mom wrapped around my finger," she said, chuckling between reps. She actually thinks people would believe her over me. "I've got recordings on all of them. Just one word, and I could ruin any of their lives." Sabrina, smart as hell, kept her phone out like she was checking her schedule, but she was recording the whole thing. Lindsay just kept going. She even admitted to stealing mail, doctoring screenshots, and getting me fired, all with a smug little laugh. "The best part," she said, "my husband's firm makes sure I never face consequences. These suburban moms have no idea who they're messing with." That was our golden ticket. By the time the spring gala rolled around, the big yearly school event, Monica and I were ready. We'd spent weeks collecting everything: audio files, sworn statements, screenshots, timelines. And at the center of it all, that recording. Lindsay's own voice confessing to every single rotten thing she'd done. The gala itself looked like something out of a wedding magazine. The school had pulled out all the stops, fairy lights everywhere, soft music, glittering centerpieces. Parents showed up dressed to impress, sipping wine and nibbling on canapes. And right there by the auction table stood Lindsay, her platinum blonde hair curled to perfection, soaking in the spotlight like she owned the place. Monica walked in through the main doors, calm and composed in a sleek black dress, her chin held high. Right on cue, the whispering started. Parents took one glance at her and shifted away. Lindsay's smile stretched even wider, like she was enjoying the slow humiliation. Then came my entrance. I walked in from the side, wearing my full Chelsea Piers uniform. Security started to move toward me, but I waved them off. Monica had listed me as a volunteer for the night. Just like we planned. We had everything mapped out to the second. Monica stepped onto the bandstand and gently took the microphone from the band. "Excuse me," she said, voice steady. "There's something I think you all need to hear." Lindsay's face drained of color. Then Sabrina's recording boomed from the speakers, filling the ballroom. Lindsay's voice spilled out for everyone to hear, casually confessing to mail theft, falsifying evidence, and destroying reputations like it was her hobby. The whole room froze. Conversations stopped mid-sentence. Wine glasses hovered in midair. But we weren't done yet. I hooked up my laptop to the projector and started playing the secret recordings Lindsay had made of the other parents. Gasps spread like wildfire. Every file was labeled with a mom's name, and soon, they were hearing their own private conversations echo across the room, discussions about money, marriages, health problems, all captured without their knowledge. "She's been recording all of you," I told them, "for months. At birthday parties, in bathrooms, near the gift tables. Everywhere." You could feel the tension snap. Phones flew out of purses as parents scrambled to check messages, trying to figure out how long Lindsay had been collecting their secrets. The PTA president clutched her chest as her own voice played over the speakers, talking about her daughter's learning challenges. Her face went pale. Lindsay tried to make a break for the exit, but before she could slip out, a group of furious parents blocked her path. That flawless mask Lindsay always wore finally cracked. Her voice wobbled as she tried to come up with excuses, but it was too late for lies. Then Monica calmly delivered the final blow, pulling up the security footage of Lindsay stealing her mail. "This is a federal crime," Monica said, steady as a rock. "And I've already filed a report." Lindsay's husband, who'd been frozen near the bar the entire time, finally moved. He walked over to her, his face pale like someone had drained the life out of him. "We're leaving now," he said flatly. Security didn't need to be asked twice. They escorted them out while the whole room watched in silence. And just like that, Lindsay's carefully built empire fell apart. All those nasty little weapons she'd used against people, rumors, secrets, manipulation, they turned around and bit her back. Within days, her husband had filed for divorce. His law firm put out a statement distancing themselves from everything she'd done. The school board met in an emergency session and voted to ban her from any future events. Meanwhile, the Postal Inspection Service launched a formal investigation into the stolen mail. Monica got reinstated as fundraising chair, this time with a whole room full of apologies from folks who had doubted her. People who'd spent months avoiding her suddenly remembered she'd been one of the most reliable, generous volunteers they had. As for me, Chelsea Piers finally called me back. Turns out their security footage caught Lindsay planting fake evidence in the bathroom. They offered back pay, a written apology, and maybe the biggest surprise, my manager admitted he should have listened to me from the start. At Monica's first meeting back, the energy in the room was different. Parents who had once whispered behind her back now leaned in to ask how they could help. The woman who had always shown up for others was finally getting that same support in return. After the truth came out, more people from Lindsay's past stepped forward, parents from her old schools with eerily similar stories. More investigations followed. Her soon-to-be ex-husband, eager to protect his firm's name, made sure she faced every legal consequence for the mail theft. Monica and I grew close through it all. We still talk, still help each other when we can. She still volunteers for school events, still bakes cupcakes for birthday parties. But now other parents show up too. The air isn't heavy anymore. That toxic fog Lindsay left behind slowly cleared as people remembered what it meant to actually be part of a community. There are moments I still hear Lindsay's voice in my head, those creepy recordings, those twisted lies. But what sticks with me more is Monica's quiet strength. Her choice to fight back, not with revenge, but with kindness and truth. Birthday parties at Chelsea Piers feel different now. There's more laughter, more lightness. Parents look each other in the eye. Maybe it's because they know now just how dangerous gossip and silence can be. And when someone tries to stir the pot again, the room shuts it down fast. Monica's daughter ended up getting invited to every party she'd once been left out of. The other kids never really knew what had happened, just that she was back, and they were happy to have her there. Funny how children are often more decent than the adults around them. As for Lindsay, last I heard, she'd moved 3 times in less than a year. But bad news travels fast, especially in mom circles. Her reputation followed her like a bad smell. The queen bee who once ruled with fear and whispers now found herself completely, painfully alone. And no one missed the irony. She tried so hard to destroy Monica over what? Being kind? Being trusted? In the end, it was Monica's kindness, her refusal to get dirty, that exposed everything Lindsay tried to hide. If I learned anything from all this, it's that bullies like Lindsay count on you to stay quiet. They hope you'll be too humiliated or afraid to speak up. But when good people come together and say, enough's enough, even the most polished cruelty starts to crumble. Monica still comes to Chelsea Piers. She still smiles that same gentle smile. But now, when she offers to lend a hand, people stop and thank her. They see her now. And that empty chair where Lindsay used to sit? It says more than any secret ever could.